After a weekend off, Argyle are back at it today, looking to pick up where they left off a fortnight ago.
And for the first time since 2018, for the first time at this level, since the late 1980s, Argyle and Blackburn play each other here at Home Park. As 25 yards out. Shot deflected! That shot goes in! Area doesn't really win out. Underwood then Lucan towards goal. They score! Wow. And it's absolutely glorious from Luke Kendall. Finesse, excellence, 3-0. Game over. Argyle have their second win of the season, but when the quality matters came up, Argyle delivered.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Erin Black and you are watching Argyle TV's pre-match show brought to you by HBH Woolacotts. Championship football is back after a week away and Argyle are taking on opposition again, this time in the shape of Preston North End. That 3-0 win over Blackburn Rovers that you saw just then a fortnight ago ended a 3-match losing streak for Argyle, and there's a chance this afternoon for them to continue to kick on and build on that success with a trip to one of the early pace setters of the league. Over the next hour, we're going to be bringing you all of the team news. We're going to be hearing from Stephen Schumacher on facing his former colleague and friend Ryan Lowe, and from new signing Mustafa Bundu. He's going to be talking for the first time since becoming an Argyle player, and we're doing it all in the company of former academy coach Aaron Kuzak, back with us again. How are you, Aaron?
I am Erin. Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
Good, wonderful to have you. Away game, this is the first for me. You've done a few of the away games.
Yeah.
Slightly different dynamic, quite exciting, seeing Argyle on the road.
It's nice, yeah. I mean, from our perspective, we get to watch it in the comfort of the studio and kind of, get some bits that we want to talk about a bit later, but it's, a relaxing environment here, but it won't be as relaxing up there, no doubt, you know.
And you did the commentary for Argyle's last game, which, as we said, a fortnight ago now. Great game for them, but quite a nice time in the whole kind of season for them to have a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I think it was a real good point to just reset, recharge, tired legs, tired minds. It's been a real frantic opening sector of the season, and I think the players needed that time, and the staff as well, the management staff, just time to go away, spend time with friends and family, and come back, reset, ready to go after the international break.
Yeah, and I guess they'll, as we've mentioned, be hoping to continue their winning ways now. We had that 3-match kind of losing spell, which wasn't great for anyone to see, not great for the team, but to bounce back against Blackburn Rovers like they did with a 3-0 win and taking on Preston today, it's a better place to be in for sure.
Very much so. You don't want to go into the end of the break having lost maybe 4 in a row, but thankfully we got the victory, and I think it was against a good Blackburn outfit, and that was a game of moments for me. I think I echo everyone's opinions in that we rode our luck at times, but we scored at crucial times, and that's what I think you've got to do in this league. You don't get as many opportunities you do perhaps in the lower leagues, and thankfully we got the 3 points.
Yeah, and there's lots of interesting elements at play today against Preston North End. And one, of course, is that they are right up towards the top of the table, so another challenge for Argyle. Yeah,
I mean, they're unbeaten. They've won 4 of their opening 5 games. They're in a rich reign of form. They want to continue that journey. They might argue that the break came at the wrong time for them. They've got good momentum. They're winning week in, week out, and now they've had a 2-week break. And it'll be interesting to see what the dynamics like this afternoon. It's going to be a very testing challenge against a very good opponent, and one no doubt the boys are relishing.
Yeah, well, let's get to it and have a look at the Argyle side today, then see what the dynamic at play actually is. There's 2 changes for Argyle this afternoon, and everything up on the screen for you there. Starting lineup today: Hazard, Plegathwello, Gibson, Kessler, Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Miller, Azaz, Cundall, Hardy and Whittaker. And on our bench, Burton, Scar, Butcher, Edwards, Wright, Warrington, Randall, Wright and Wayne. Aaron, what's jumping out of that for you?
Well, naturally, the fact that they've made a change to the back line, having kept a clean sheet previously, it looks to me like they're going very attacking, with Azaz and Cundall going to be supporting perhaps Whittaker, Hardy and Mumba. Mikael Miller will probably come in and play on that left-hand side, that left-back area, which is kind of a false position in that they're more attacking prowess alongside Kessler Hayden on the other side. So they're setting their stall up to go and perhaps try and take the game to Preston. It doesn't look like to me it's a defensive lineup. We just got to make sure, for me, that they don't leave Jordan Houghton exposed in that central area, because I know Preston like to break quickly with a lot of numbers.
And talking of Houghton, it's his 100th start today. How important has he been to the club so far? I
think the league that we're in now suits his game, because teams like to play and they like to be expansive and build from the back, and I think that suits him. So the grounds that they're going to, the opposition that they're playing against, really plays into his strengths. And I think it's no coincidence why he's had such a good start to the season.
Yeah, and 100 starts.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Well, and he deserves to be where he is, so far this season. And it's a brilliant memory for him to kick on.
And Connor Hazard was away with Northern Ireland in the break, but he didn't play, so he'll be nice and fresh, and I'm sure keen to get out for Argyle this afternoon. Yeah,
I mean, I've got no experience of playing at international level, but when they go away, no doubt that they probably want to play. Of course they do. Yeah. He hasn't played, so he's probably eager to get back in between the sticks and get going again, like they all do.
Yeah, very exciting. Let's turn our attention to the Preston side now. This is our opposition for this afternoon, and their lineup consists of Woodman, Lindsay, Story, Hughes, Brown, McCann, Ledson, Holmes, Potts, Miller, Osmajic, and on their bench, Cornell, Cunningham, Watmore, Best, Whiteman. I've got to figure out how to do this justice. I believe it's Forkshire, Jensen, Brady, Woodburn and Stewart. Any names there standing out to you, Aaron?
Well, there's one missing, which is Will Keane, in that he's not playing and he's injured. Yes. So he's the big, perhaps, name that we were all expecting to play, but I think he's got a muscle injury. He's scored 4 of the 5 goals so far this season. 4 goals in 5 games, so he's their main target player. He's not in the 11, so I know there's Osmajic is making his debut, so he's going to want to impress. So for me, though, I think the lad Potts is quite a influential player for them. He'll play on the right-hand side. Brad Potts, he'll like to maraud. He likes to join the attack. So we've got to be mindful, Miller in particular, have got to be mindful that they try to suppress his eagerness to get up the pitch.
And, of course, all managed by former Argyle manager Ryan Lowe. It's going to be quite interesting, isn't it, Aaron?
It is. I mean, I've seen the VTs prior, and Shuey and Rowe are best of friends, and they are currently, and they will be after the game. But I think it's important that the players, no doubt they'll focus on the opposition that they're playing against rather than the friendly rivalry of being friends. But there's always an added spice when there's a previous connection. And like they'll both probably say, may the best team win.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Ryan Lowe doing really well with Preston so far this season. I mean, just some figures that we've got here. Won their last 4, conceded the joint fewest in the league. That's pretty impressive to have under your belt. And then, as you mentioned, in terms of goal-wise, Will Keane having the 4 goals so far, which is, will make a difference to them in that respect. So do you think it's going to be slightly more of a challenge for Argyle in that they're, coming up against someone that knows Argyle quite well?
Yes, absolutely. I think what might run in our favour is he doesn't know the recent players we've brought in, so he doesn't know their games. Whilst he might know the inner workings of the football club, we've got new players in and around the setup now that he won't be familiar with. And, it's going to be a very tough challenge. Not only are they up there, I think second, as of yesterday they were top, but Leicester winning last night, puts them top. But they didn't concede many last year and they didn't score many, and they've recruited really well in the window and in the summer as well, and now they're starting to score. So if they're not conceding loads but starting to score, they become an even bigger threat. So it's going to be a very difficult afternoon. Yeah,
certainly ones to watch. And as we've alluded to, it is the first time that Stephen Schumacher and Ryan Lowe have come up against each other in opposition dugouts. So let's see how Shuey is looking forward to it.
Gaffer, we're back after a nice, refreshing international break. What's it been like this week back in training?
It's been good. I think it's important when we got back in on Monday. We spoke to the lads about regaining focus again. I think the international break came at a good time for us. We could switch off mentally as a staff. We could switch off mentally and physically as the playing staff. So getting everybody back in Monday was good. Everyone had been off in all different directions. But the focus has been good, and the training standard this week has been excellent. Just on that, kind of the importance of being able to have a little bit of time in what has been a brand new experience for everybody and pretty hectic with matches and transfer windows and everything going on. Just what is the main bits to take from having a little bit of time off? Yeah, just that switch off, just to more mentally than anything else. Because as I say, it's been intense. The games have been really hard. We've had 7 games in such a short period of time. In all of them games, they were all really competitive, and it takes its toll. So, when you can get a little break, which 3 or 4 days off for the players, I think it's important that you take it and then realise what you've done well in the previous 7 games, analyse it, come back and see where we can get better. So that's what we've been trying to do, and then the focus then switches very quickly to the next game, which is going away to the top of the league team at the moment, and yeah, seeing how we get on against them. Yeah, I was going to say it's a nice easy ease back in, isn't it? Top of the table, away from home. They've started brilliantly, haven't they, Preston? Yeah, they've been really good. I think if I remember back to the start of last season, following them and their results, they were really strong defensively. They didn't concede many goals. They drew so many games, so they were really hard to beat. This season, they've had a bit more of a goal threat. They've been a bit more clinical with the chances that they've got, and they find themselves top of the league. They've still only conceded 3 goals, I think, in the division. So they're obviously there for a reason. I think they're the only team in the division unbeaten as well. So we know the challenge ahead of us. It's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a good atmosphere, and there's also they add a little bit as well against going up against Ryan as well. Yeah, I mean, what will that be like, do you think, for you? Because you've stood in the dugout together, you've played in the same team together, you're big mates off the pitch as well. So what do you think it might be like on Saturday? I hope it's exciting. I hope it's a good game of football. It's obviously going up against one of your mates. I'm desperate to win, as will he be desperate to win. But I think, taking all that aside, we've just got to try and focus on the job, and that's what I'll be trying to do. I know Ryan is standing there next to me, but I'm not playing against Ryan. It's Argyle against Preston, so it's one of them. It's going to be good to see him. It's going to be good to go up against him and see how we get on, pit our wits against each other. But whatever happens, we'll still be mates come the end of it. And it starts a little run back in 2 away games back to back with Bristol City coming up afterwards as well. And we haven't won away from home yet this season, but we've been more than right in those matches, haven't we? So what is the key maybe to just going a little step beyond what we've done already? Yeah, I think the last performance against Birmingham, I think we played really well. Disappointed not to win that game, but to come away with no points was a huge blow. So I think it's just that getting that balance right. We want to try and play good football and be on the front foot and be expansive, but also recognise the fact that sometimes a point away from home is a good result. So we'll go there on Saturday with that same mentality. Be us, let's try and go there and try and win the game, but we also know that we're going up against the top of the league team who are really hard to play against, so just getting a result will be great. And yeah, and I say just that balance is what we're trying to get. We need to be clinical in both boxes, defend for the whole game, not to lose any concentration, and any chance that we get, try and take them.
Just to end on a little bit of team chat, newest signing Mustafa Bundu was here today. I believe his first training session with the side. We had Conor Hazard away on international duty. Presume he came back okay, and got some news on Mike Cooper as well. Yeah,
all good, all positive news. So to get Mustafa in the building eventually is really good. It's obviously took a bit of time for his work permit to come through and getting him across into the country. It is what it is. I think a lot of players who've come from the European countries, it's been that struggle over this international period, but he's here. He trained with the group this morning. He didn't do a full session, so he probably won't be available for the weekend. There's no rush with him. We need to make sure he's up to speed physically. And then Conor Hazard went away obviously with Northern Ireland, didn't manage to play any minutes, but still enjoyed the experience. He's back, looks sharp enough today, and then getting Coops back on the pitch, that's been the biggest positive this week, to have him back involved training, up to full speed with the rest of the players was great. Everyone was made up on Monday when he came down and done the small sided games. It was brilliant to have him back involved, and he showed us quality as you would expect.
Stephen Schumacher was talking there about the positive way that Argyle have started the season, Aaron. Now they're about a month and a bit in. They kind of know what to expect now, don't they? Because I can imagine it's probably quite jarring going, upper league and taking on everything that entails.
Yeah, very much so. I think they've now got some good experiences of what the oppositions are likely to be like. And as I said earlier, Erin, I think the teams tend to play a similar way, and Preston will probably be similar again today. They'll like to play when they get the ball, they'll like to break, and they'll try to be hard to break down. But it's just a really exciting opportunity to go away, and I know they spoke previously then about currently haven't won away from home, but in the games where they have either just fallen short or drawn, they've been very much in those games. So they'll take a lot of heart and credit from that, and they'll want to look to build on it. I think it will give them the opportunities previously to go, right, if they do get their noses ahead at some point today, is there a contingency to perhaps reassure, narrow in, be difficult to beat?
Yeah. And I mean, even in the situations where we have unfortunately seen Argyle lose, there have been elements of positivity that you can take away from that. They have still been playing positively. What elements of their game have you enjoyed seeing the most so far?
I think personally the freedom to go out and express themselves, having gone up a league. Sometimes it's very easy to go into an unknown territory and not trust yourself. And especially the last game, Blackburn were a decent opponent, and the fact that we still played the same way and tried to create the chances, and scored 3 times on 2 separate occasions against teams who were this time last year in a higher division. So the fact that they're going in with the element of positivity and freedom of expression is encouraging to see.
Yeah, and we were chatting before about Blackburn, and you were talking about how that was an example of them riding their luck and taking some chances, really, which I suppose is something you could shy away from when you're coming up against bigger clubs, but it's very important that Argyle continue to do that and make that impression against those sides.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and I think it's important that they play the moments, not fear the reputation of a league team that they're coming up against. Preston are a notoriously difficult side to beat in the Championship. They've had a really good start to the season, and if we look at their statistics, they're very clinical themselves. They of the goals that they've scored this year in the games that they've won, they've only had maybe they've scored 2 goals and they've only had 2 shots on target or 3 shots on target. So they are very clinical. So we've got to try and be aware of that this afternoon.
Absolutely. And for us, front 3 of Mumba, Whittaker and Hardy, that's a dangerous trio to be going up against if you're Preston.
Yeah. And what I really like about that is the variety. You've got someone who's a bit of a dribbler, you've got another one who's a ball carrier, and you've got a goal scorer in all 3. But Hardy's scored a lot of poaching type goals recently in and around the box, which is good to have. And I think that variety just keeps the challenge fresh for the opposition back line in particular.
Yeah, and we heard from Stephen Schumacher then saying it's not him versus Ryan Lowe, it's Argyle versus Preston, and very much whatever happens, like you said, may the best man win. And we know Ryan Lowe obviously hasn't got the understanding of some of the new players that Shuey's brought in, but of each other, they are going to have an element of understanding of how they both operate when it comes to managing, assistant managing. Do you think that will the dynamic of that will play into this afternoon?
I think I don't think either of them will admit it, but I think it will play on their minds. They will like to think that they know each other probably better than themselves.
Yes.
So they'll go, right, I know what he'll do here. He'll
Yeah.
make this change if this happens, and they'll try to and that's what you do when you set up for a fixture week in, week out anyway. You come up with strategies in the event to thwart what the opposition are going to do. So we'll just have to see what happens this afternoon, but it will be played in the right manner. It will be played in the right spirit. One thing that both managers will do, they'll set their sides up to play properly. And I think they'll try and encourage the players to focus on the game, not allow the emotion of their connection to outweigh what they're there to do and actually win the football match.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how it all pans out over the course of this afternoon. You are watching the pre-match show with HBH Woolacotts, building up to Argyle's away trip to Preston this afternoon. If you haven't already, you can get your match pass online. UK-based supporters can get an audio pass for £2.50, while our international fans, Tatsumaki Bones, I'm looking at you, you can stream the match in full for £10. All the details over on the website pafc.co.uk.
There's nothing like the start to a new season. The energy, the anticipation, the expectation. You know that buzz in the air. You can feel it. It's going to be our year. It's going to be different this time. It needs to be, for all of us. The emotions of the game get to us all. I know all about that. But whether out on the pitch, in the stands, or on the sidelines, we've all got to do better at all levels. No more surrounding refs, no more abuse, no more intimidation, no more discrimination. Leave the pitch to the players. And those offensive chants, you know the ones. There's never a place for them in the game we love. That beautiful feeling at the start of a new season. Don't ruin it. Let's keep it that way, together. Whether you win, lose or draw, let's make sure that this season is different. We all do it for the love of the game. Let's show our pride and passion in the right way. We all love football, so let's protect the game.
And on transfer deadline day, Argyle completed their summer business by bringing in Sierra Leone striker Mustafa Bundu from Belgian side Anderlecht. He joined up with his new teammates earlier this week, and Charlie Price from Argyle TV took the opportunity to have a chat with him.
Before we have breakfast, are we? You have breakfast? No. You haven't had? No. Okay, get changed quick then, you can go and get your breakfast.
Welcome to Plymouth, welcome to Argyle, Mustafa. How does it feel to finally be here? It's been a bit of a long process.
Yeah, it has. It's but yeah, it feels amazing. First day has been really good. The players, everyone around the club has welcomed me pretty well. Yeah, it's been I don't know how to say, but easy to join the guys. I trained with the team today, and yeah, it's been amazing. It's good to be back. It's good to be back down here. You know, like you guys know, I have a bit of a love story of the south. But
yeah, well, tell us about that then, because people have seen the stories about you playing for Newquay and all of that. But kind of tell us that story.
It's a funny thing, you know, when the moment I signed and everything popped up, you know, everyone's talking about Newquay and all this thing. It's nice as well, you know, because it's good for I don't know, for Cornwall in general. You know, Newquay is not too far from Plymouth, and I'm gonna be a player for Argyle, so it's a good story for me. But I was in Gloucester. I went to college in Gloucester, Hartpury College, and yeah, my second day there, I met a guy who then became my best friend from that time on to now. He's my really good friend. And then during Christmas, normally during Christmas we have, I think, 2 weeks or 10 days on holidays. So instead of me going back to Freetown, it's a long travel and all this stuff. So I decided to stay in England. Normally I was gonna work at the college to maybe get a bit of extra money and stuff. Then he said, you know what, come down to come down to Newquay, and yeah, you can meet my family, and it's a nice place, you'll like it, I think. So I came down. That was my first year. I came down, and out of nowhere, Nuki out of game. And then his dad was like, "Wow, why don't we get him to play?" And then they had to make calls to figure out if I am allowed to play, because they knew about everything that I was not allowed to play in a higher league back then. So they were like, "Yeah, he could play." Then I was like, "I don't know what would the college say," because I was on scholarship, and I didn't want to like maybe come down and get injured. It would put him also in a bad spot, his family in a bad spot if the college gets a bit angry. So they're like, "Yeah, just come sit on the bench," and so I sat on the bench. They were losing 2-0. I think it was in, I don't know, not Ivorbridge, I think. Yeah. I think it was in Ivorbridge, that game. They were losing 2-0, 15 minutes to go. I came in, couldn't do nothing really. The pitch was bad. I had fun. It was really nice. I was running. I remember it's been raining 2 hours before the game. The pitch was really wet and like muddy. So I was running around, like sliding and all this stuff. And I can remember I had some good actions as well. And then the coach from the other team came to my friend's dad and was like, "Where have you got this kid from?" Stuff like that. Like I could see that, okay, this guy should not be playing here. Then he just said, "Yeah, he's my son's friend from college, and he's just here for the holidays really," and he just played.
You can watch that interview in full on Argyle TV next week. That's such a great story that about him playing for Nuki, isn't it, Aaron?
It's just really random, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think what's really encouraging is how close the connection is to the football club and obviously Nuki and Cornwall. So a real interesting story because it just showcases how people can come into the professional game in many different avenues.
Yeah, and Sierra Leone, and then of course playing in Europe. He's a bit of an unknown really to us, but he looks like he could be quite exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about the lad, to be honest, and no doubt, the football club behind the scenes, the guys would have done their homework on signing him based on the data that they would have accrued, and I'm sure he'll bring something different to what we've already got. I can't imagine they would bring someone in who's a like for what we've already got. So they'll be looking for someone who's slightly different in the way that they play. It'd be interesting to see how he fits in. I'm sure the lads will make him very welcome.
Yep.
And, he could be a brilliant addition from now on to the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can come on at 15 minutes to go and score a load of goals, that's the kind of energy we want to see here at Argyle. Okay, you are watching Argyle TV. We are building up to kick off at Deepdale in about half an hour's time. And still to come, we'll hear from Ryan Lowe, and we'll also recap all the team news for you too. So don't go anywhere.
The away day. A shared passion and commitment. 12,000 miles across the season. Unforgettable memories, past players, the goals. Waiting players, supporters, young and old. Capturing the moment, living the dream. Green Army, belting out the Janusol. The stands, the shirts, the drum beats, the surging crowd moving as a giant wave. Crusaders, one and all. The Green Army.
Welcome back. This is the pre-match show brought to you by HBH Woolacotts, and we are building up to Argyle's trip to the side that led the league going into this weekend, Preston North End. Now, last time out, our Spanish defender Julio Pleguezuelo made his full league debut, starting at the heart of defence against Blackburn, and he won the Player of the Match award as well, and sat down with Argyle TV to analyse the performance.
I thought the stadium was rocking, great atmosphere. We started a bit slow the game ourselves. Blackburn started well. I remember we were a bit in the back foot for the first 15-20 minutes. But then we started growing into the game. I think the team started to feel a bit more comfortable. And obviously it was nice to go 1-0 ahead at half-time. Thought that gave us a little bit of more calmness towards second half, and yeah, second half was an absolutely fantastic game to watch for the fans. To play was also fun, but quite intense and a lot of running. But no, but it was a great experience. first start in the league for myself. Felt amazing, and yeah, I thought 3 points were very important, and we got them.
You can see that they are confident, and they are taking the game to Argyle here. Beautiful play from Craig Weller. He looked like he was running down a cul-de-sac there, but he just clips the ball around Schmodix to get it out of danger.
Yeah, so here Joe plays the ball back to me. I wanted to play the ball back to Connor, but I couldn't because Gallagher was there. And then yeah, when I'm in the corner, I did want to cut back inside because in the previous action, the number 8 from Blackburn, I went to kick it long and he came quite harsh to stop it, so kind of remember that. So then yeah, in that action I thought it was the right moment to do it, because I thought it was also going to come quite harsh, and it did. And yeah, some might say it's a bit risky, but yeah, at the end of the day I'm right in the corner, so obviously you don't want to lose the ball that deep into your own field. But if I do lose the ball, then I'm still in an okay position to, because if I do kick it long from there, it's most likely going to go for a throw-in, or the second ball they're going to win it, and you are even in a worse situation. So I thought it was the right moment to do it, and it worked out. So I managed to keep the ball and play out, so it was good. Right, this second one, oh, this is the action of the tackle. Yeah, they play the ball long. I keep looking at the ball at all times. He didn't have the ball under control, so when I saw it was the right moment to put my foot in, I did. Got the ball. I didn't even touch him at all, to be fair. Yeah, it was a great tackle. It can be a bit risky. That one I can say that it can be a bit risky, but yeah, good defending. Because I'm right-footed, I can get closer with my right foot towards the ball. And in that moment, the ball was bouncing. He didn't really have it under control. So yeah, it's risky, but it's also risky to let him have the ball and have a 1-against-1 inside the box. So I thought it was a good timing tackle and good decision.
And how impressed were you with him against Blackburn, Aaron?
He was outstanding. He really was, Aaron. And not only was he composed on the ball, he showed great leadership. And some of the clips we showed there, that his ability to read the situation, to regain the ball, it was just an all-round defensive kind of masterclass, really.
And we've seen him come out as captain on a couple of the cup games previously. What does he have that the other defenders don't?
I think he just brings an element of calmness and reassurance, and that's not to say the others don't have it. I just think the fact that he's really composed in possession, and when he shows that composure, I think it just has such a positive influence on the rest of the team that they think and they trust that he's in control of the situation. And this clip here where we're playing it through, when he regained it, he just stood still for 2 or 3 seconds and was like, okay, we've regained, take the sting out of that moment, and we look to play out. And this is brilliant. If you watch this, the way that he just plays out through, and a give and go, he stays in the move. He doesn't just switch off. He's very connected. He's aware of the situation. Now he's breaking forward, and that didn't happen that often last year from someone in his position. So it's gone from a moment of being pressed in our own box to a breakaway where we're now in the opposition's box within 10 seconds. And that shows brilliant game intellect.
Yeah. How much better do you think he can still get?
Well, the well's the oyster in essence. He will want to improve week in, week out, and he'll adjust to, the ferocity of the league, and he's going to want to demonstrate that consistency that brought him to the football club. I think the fact that he's played in Europe as well, and European football tends to be a little bit slower, so I think he'll know when to speed things up and when to slow the play down, and I think that's vital when you vary the tempo at different points in a game.
Yeah, lots of great qualities coming to Argyle through him. Let's take a look at the Preston camp now then, and hear from their manager and our former manager, Ryan Lowe, who is looking forward to taking on his former side, but he is fully focused on continuing Preston's fine start to the season.
I think it'll be strange, but listen, we're best of mates. There's no 90 minutes going to get in the way of our 15-year relationship, definitely not. But he'd be wanting to beat me and I'll be wanting to beat him. It's as simple as that. We'll get out before the game and we'll get out after him. We'll have a drink afterwards and may the best team win. Hopefully that's us, of course. But yeah, look, it's going to be a little bit strange in it. But once the whistle goes, it's both of you are competing. It's not me and him against each other. It's Preston North End against Plymouth Argyle. It just so happens to be that there's two best mates managing both teams. Well, one team each. So yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a little bit weird, but it's an occasion I'm really looking forward to.
What have you made of the way that they've started?
Yeah, they've started well. Yeah, they've been fantastic. Obviously, 1-2, lost 2 and drawn 1, and to have 7 points in this league and the teams they've played, they've come up against some good teams. But they're an attacking team. They like to play forward a lot. They like to run forward, create a lot of chances. But so do we as well. So we've got to make sure we worry about us. We'll show Plymouth Argyle the respect they deserve, like we do at every club. They've had a fantastic start, but we've got to make sure that we're on it and we worry about what we do.
This will be the start of a double header at Deepdale, I suppose. So that's an opportunity for you to continue the fantastic form.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for us to play well and perform, definitely. And that's what we've got to do. I think with the fans backing of this season, the home games have been fantastic, and we're going to need that again, definitely, especially the weekend. We're going to make sure we need to be louder than them. I'm sure our lads will, and all the fans will, because I think it's important. And then, as you said, it's a double header. We've got 2 fantastic games to play, 2 tough teams in different ways. But these are the games you want, Tom. These are the games you're looking forward to after the international break, coming off with 13 points and sitting top of the league. You want to try and keep sustaining that. And Saturday, is going to be a tough game, and then Tuesday we'll look into on Sunday. But as we sit here and speak now, we've got 2 fantastic games to hopefully get some points from.
I know you've spoken quite a lot about not getting carried away. That's been the message throughout. But have you really felt that kind of buzz around the place, the confidence and momentum?
Well, if there was no buzz around the place when you're sitting top of the league on 13 points after the first 5 games, there'd be something wrong. But there's a buzz that it's a serious buzz. It's not like, we're not getting too carried away. We're not getting giddy. We know it's a tough league to conquer. But while you're there, relish the opportunity of being there and the moment of being there. And that's what I've said to the group. Teams are going to want to come and knock us off that perch, which is fine, of course. But we've got to try and be solid and resolute and do the right things to try and stay there as long as we can. I'm sitting here saying that's going to be the case come the end of the season. I don't know. Would we love that? Of course we would. Is there some tough teams in there? Yeah, of course. We know the league's going to be competitive right the way through. What we've got to try and do is just win games of football, as many as we possibly can, and see where it takes us. And to be where we are now after 5 games is pleasing, of course. Will the league fluctuate and go up and down? Yeah, definitely will. But while you're there, make sure you make the most of being there.
Not long now until we see that dynamic unfold in front of our very eyes up at Preston North End this afternoon. Let's remind ourselves of the 2 teams then before we get underway, starting, of course, as always, with Argyle's starting 11 this afternoon. Hazard, Plegathwello, Gibson, Kessler Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Miller, Azaz, Cundall, Hardy and Whittaker. And on our bench this afternoon, Burton, Scar, Butcher, Edwards, Wright, Warrington, Randall, Wright and Wayne. And we said earlier, Aaron, only 2 changes for Argyle today, but 2 changes coming off the back of a really good win.
Yeah, and it just showcases the quality we have in the depth of the squad, and like for like changes. I said at the top of the show, Aaron, I think it's a very attacking setup. That looks like they're going to try and take the game to Preston, and which is encouraging. It doesn't look like they're trying to set up 2 banks of 4 and sit deep, but I think for me it's vital that we don't get caught too expansive during the transition. So when we lose possession, got to make sure that the midfielders in particular narrow off and help Jordan Houghton so that we become quite resolute in that central space. Blackburn kind of exposed us quite a few times a couple of weeks ago.
Well, lots to play for this afternoon. Let's take a look at Preston's side as well. Their starting 11 consists of the following: Woodman, Lindsay, Story, Hughes, Brown, McCann, Ledson, Holmes, Potts, Miller and Osmajic. And on their bench, Cornell, Cunningham, Watmore, Best, Whiteman, Forkyer, Jensen, Brady, Woodburn and Stewart. Again, another strong lineup from Preston.
Yeah, and we've already said it. The omission of Will Keane is going to be a big loss for them, but they've got their record signing in Oz Magic coming in and making his debut today, so he's going to want to make an impression. And for me, on the balance of things, I know they've got more points currently. I think it's two evenly matched sides.
Okay.
I do feel it will be a very difficult and cagey game. So let's see how it unfolds. But I think today will be about how clinical each team is at either end of the pitch. Preston have scored and won games, but they haven't had many shots on target, but they've scored as the chances that they've been presented with. So whereas we've had lots of shots on target and not scored as many in terms of the conversion, but we're still scoring goals. So it's going to make for a very interesting dynamic this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everyone that's been tuning in so far. Seen some comments on YouTube. We have people watching far and wide. Very exciting for you for this afternoon's game. This is, of course, the pre-match show on Argyle TV with HBH Woolacott. And before we kick off, we're just going to be coming back, getting some final views from Aaron on today's game, and then handing over to the commentary team of Charlie Price and Oscar Threlkeld. So don't go anywhere.
Let's get it poppin', I'm looking away. Go tell mother I'm cooking the game. Flow like water bubbling up where you want me to make. Taking you back in the day, feeling immaculate, mate. Action packed back to back while you yapping away. I got a knack to react, but I'm packing a grace. Up to the max with a fact, let me grab the space. I had a map the place, you got a laughing face. Long and strong, looking like a stack full of hate. It goes on and on, way to the back of the bank. This phenomenon's on, I don't even have to say. I'm where I belong, this is not back in the, I go where I wanna, a fair warning for anybody with hair on them. You can't stop me, you get sloppy.
Fans getting in touch, Aaron, all around the world on YouTube, Italy, Portugal, Spain, just to name a few, and a couple of comments saying the attacking lineup that Argyle have put out today, which you've alluded to as well. I think that's going to be really important, isn't it?
And it sets a precedent for me. It showcases what the intentions of their first half strategy in particular is all about. And Cundall's on the back of 2 consecutive games, scoring 2 good goals, albeit different goals, but special goals. He's going to want to add to his tally. Azaz is fresh from a goal as well, so Hardy keeps scoring. So there's a lot of attacking goals and a lot of attacking threat and variety in that front section of the pitch.
Yeah. Do you think it's important to get that momentum going, maintained within the game itself, but also the momentum coming back off Blackburn game as well?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to pick up where they left off essentially, and they finished the game extremely strongly against Blackburn. But what I like already is the fact that the players who are on the pitch today, there's a variety in there. So there isn't one reliance on one player. Whereas Will Keane going out of the Preston side, all of a sudden they've lost 4 goals. And I know they've got the new lad coming in, but if he doesn't click straight away, where are the goals coming from? Whereas we've got Hardy already on 4, we've got Whittaker and Mumba have already scored, Azaz and Cundall have scored, so there's definite variety ready to go.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a bit of pressure for them as well, like you said, when you lose your goal scorer like that, and you kind of have to come in with that weight on your shoulders, wanting to deliver. That can add a dynamic for the opposition that's not so great for them.
Well, it does, because what they'll try and do then is nullify that one threat, and if they can do that, they think if we take care of that problem, we should be quite comfortable. Whereas if you've got 4 or 5 different problems that could be created as a result of that omission, then how do they set that up? So it plays into our hands, I think, in terms of that attacking variety in particular.
I suppose are you thinking if Argyle play their cards right, then they could have the upper hand really coming into this game?
Well, I mean, it's easier to say it than perhaps see it a bit later, but I just like the fact that we've got players in form in terms of goal scoring form. Who are on the pitch in abundance. The front 6, if you want to call the midfield kind of 2, 3 as well, the wide players, they're creating. I think our expected goals is 1.5 compared to Preston's at 0.98. So in terms of expectancy of scoring goals, we're nearly half a goal better at the current juncture of the season. Yeah,
well, not long to go now. We've got just enough time to have a look through some of the other games that are happening today. There were, of course, 2 games yesterday with Hull and Coventry and Southampton and Leicester, but we've got Blackburn against Middlesbrough, Bristol against West Brom, Huddersfield take on Rotherham, Norwich against Stoke, Preston, of course, taking Argyle on this afternoon, Queen's Park Rangers against Sunderland, and Sheffield Wednesday take Ipswich Town, Watford play Birmingham City, and Cardiff City take on Swansea City for a bit of a Welsh derby there. Some exciting games. People are going to be keeping eyes peeled on
Yeah,
scores as the afternoon goes, Aaron.
It's such a enigmatic league, Erin. Like, you just can't predict what's going to happen. I mean, look at the results. Southampton last night getting thumped again. So they've conceded 9 goals in 2 games. You know, so they've got a really poor goal difference now. You know, the Ipswich have had a good start, so they go up against Sheffield Wednesday, who came up with us last year as well. So Ipswich are 3 kind of promoted sides, and they're going to want to maintain the positive start that they've had. So it's just such variety, and it's something that we can look forward to as the afternoon unfolds.
Yeah, lots of teams jostling for prime position in the table there. Aaron, thank you very much for being with us. Pre-match show here on Argyle TV. Me and Aaron, of course, will be back later on as well to wrap up this game too. But that is pretty much it for us for the build-up. There is just enough time to remind you that if you are based in the UK, then you will be able to listen to the commentary of the game this afternoon. That's going to be brought to you by Charlie Price and Oscar Threlkeld. An audio pass is just £2.50, and if you are an international fan, and I know there are many of you watching this afternoon, you can purchase the full streaming pass for just £10 and watch the entire game in full, and I'm sure it will be a very good one to watch as well. Just head over to the website pafc.co.uk for information on both of those. Argyle are now searching for their first win at Preston since 1997. That's almost 26 years since a Carlo Corazon goal gave the Greens the win. And, you know, they could do it all over again today. We're about to find out because the commentary is next. Enjoy.
There's nothing like the start to a new season. The energy, the anticipation, the expectation. You know that buzz in the air. You can feel it. It's going to be our year. It's going to be different this time. It needs to be, for all of us. The emotions of the game get to us all. I know all about that. But whether out on the pitch, in the stands, or on the sidelines, we've all got to do better at all levels. No more surrounding refs, no more abuse, no more intimidation, no more discrimination. Leave the pitch to the players. And those offensive chants, you know the ones. There's never a place for them in the game we love. That beautiful feeling at the start of a new season. Don't ruin it. Let's keep it that way, together. Whether you win, lose or draw, let's make sure that this season is different. We all do it for the love of the game. Let's show our pride and passion in the right way. We all love football, so let's protect the game.
The away day. A shared passion and commitment. 12,000 miles across the season. Unforgettable memories, past players, the goals. Waiting players, supporters, young and old. Capturing the moment, living the dream. Green Army, belting out the Janusol. The stands, the shirts, the drum beats, the surging crowd moving as a giant wave. Crusaders, one and all. The Green Army.